Here is a strange truth. Being clean was not always a universal social rule. For much of history, many people did not wash their whole bodies often, and some even feared bathing more than dirt. Soap looks simple, soft, safe, ordinary. But behind this quiet object is a story of fear, class, sickness, shame, and power. In this video, we will open that story. We will go back to the first makers of soap, to streets that smelled of smoke and waste, to families terrified by disease, and to the modern bathroom where we use soap without asking one basic question: why do we trust it so much? And the deeper we go, the stranger it gets. Because soap did not just clean bodies, it helped build a whole idea of what a good person should look like, smell like, and even be. So the next time you wash your hands, you may never see that little bar the same way again. Chapter 1. Origin. Picture a fire at sunset. Animal fat drips into ash near a cooking place. Rain mixes the mess. Someone touches the strange paste. It feels slippery. It lifts grease from the skin. That may not be the exact first moment of soap, but it is close to the kind of accident many early discoveries begin with. Long before bright bottles and fresh scents, people used rough mixtures to clean cloth, skin, and tools. Oil, ash, and fat were the key parts. The result was basic soap. Ancient Babylon may have had early soap-like materials thousands of years ago. Other cultures used plant ash and oil in different ways. Egypt had cleaning mixtures too. But do not imagine soft white foam and lemon perfume. Think of smoke, think of animal fat, think of a heavy smell. This was not a beauty product. It was a practical material in a hard world. Now meet a woman in an older city. Her name does not matter, because there were millions like her. She wakes before sunrise. She carries water from a public source. The water is cold, heavy, and never enough. She must choose where it goes. Cooking, drinking, washing clothes, cleaning a child. Not everything can be cleaned. So she rubs cloth in rough water. She wipes hands with what she has. Maybe ash, maybe oil, maybe a harsh soap that hurts the skin. Cleanliness exists, but comfort does not. That is the first thing modern people often forget. In the old world, hygiene was not just about knowledge. It was about labor, and labor was expensive. Every bucket of water had a cost. Every act of washing took time, fuel, effort, and sometimes pain. So no, daily full-body washing was not normal for most people, and that should make you pause. Because once soap appears in history, it does not enter a clean world. It enters a world that is already dirty, crowded, and unequal. And that is where the real story begins. What happens when something useful becomes something moral? Chapter 2. The Rise. For a long time, soap was not for everyone. In some places, it was handmade in small amounts. In others, it was sold at a price many poor people could not pay often. It could be used for cloth more than skin, and then cities grew. Fast. Streets filled with people, animals, smoke, waste, and noise. Houses stood close together. Water systems were weak. Garbage piled up. The smell alone was a warning, but people did not yet fully understand germs. A germ is a tiny living thing that can cause disease. They saw sickness, they saw death, but they did not always know why it came. Some thought bad air caused illness. Some feared dirty water. Some blamed strangers, the poor, or whole groups of people. Soap slowly became part of this world of urban fear. Not because it solved everything, but because it offered control. And humans love control when the world feels dangerous. Then industry changed everything. Factories could make soap faster, cheaper, and in larger amounts. This was a revolution hiding inside the home. Suddenly, soap was no longer only a rough substance from a workshop. It was a product, wrapped, shaped, named, sold. That matters more than it sounds. Because once soap became a product, it also became a message. Ads began to whisper, then shout, "A clean home is a good home. A clean mother is a worthy mother. A clean worker is a disciplined worker. A clean child is a loved child." Listen carefully. This is not just about washing anymore. This is about identity. And once that happens, selling soap becomes much easier. You are not only selling foam, you are selling safety. You are selling respect. You are selling social acceptance. Here is the twist. Soap rose with science, yes, but it also rose with shame. People learned more about health, but they also learned to fear being seen as dirty. And that fear was powerful, very powerful. So ask yourself this: when did being clean become more than personal comfort? When did it become a public performance? The answer is darker than most people expect. Chapter 3: The Dark Turn. Now the story gets uncomfortable. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, ideas about hygiene mixed with class prejudice, colonial thinking, and social control. Soap was linked to health. That part was real. But it was also linked to civilization, purity, and superiority. That part was dangerous. Some rich people looked at the poor and saw not only hardship but failure. Some empires looked at other cultures and called them unclean to justify control. Soap entered the language of power, and once power touches a simple object, that object is never simple again. Look at the old posters: clean white clothes, bright skin, smiling families. The message was often quiet but clear. Clean people belong. Dirty people do not. Stop there for a second. This was not just about removing mud from hands. It was about deciding who looked modern, worthy, and acceptable. And that idea could become cruel. Now imagine a family in a city during a disease outbreak. A mother hears that illness is spreading 2 streets away. A child has a fever nearby. A neighbor says the water is bad. Another says the air is poisoned. Someone else says poor districts are the source. No one is calm. The father comes home with soap, extra cloth, and a face full of fear. The family scrubs the table. They wash hands again. They boil water. They keep children inside. They do not know exactly what works. But doing something feels better than doing nothing. This is the second mini-story, and it matters, because disease does not only kill bodies, it changes behavior. It builds habits. It teaches fear. And fear is very good for business. Soap companies understood this. Public health campaigns understood this too. Sometimes the message helped save lives. Sometimes it also blamed people for conditions they did not control. If a family had little water, crowded housing, and low income, was dirt a personal failure? Or was it poverty wearing a visible face? That question still matters now, a lot. Because once cleanliness becomes moral, people stop seeing the full picture. They stop asking who has access to clean water, private bathrooms, time, and money. They just judge the result, and that is the dark turn. Soap began as a material, then it became a symbol. Then, in some hands, it became a weapon of judgment. Chapter 4: The World Changes. Then came the age of modern public health. Scientists proved more clearly that microbes spread disease. A microbe is a tiny organism, too small to see without tools. This changed everything. Hospitals improved hand washing. Cities built better water and sewer systems. Schools taught children to wash. Governments pushed hygiene campaigns. And yes, soap truly helped. This part should not be ignored. Hand washing has saved many lives. In surgery, in childbirth, in daily life, it mattered deeply. So this is not a story about soap being fake. It is a story about soap being bigger than it looks. Because as real health benefits grew, consumer culture grew too. Now, soap was not only useful, it was personal. It had fragrance, color, brand identity, emotion. The bathroom became a small stage where modern life performed itself every morning. And here comes another shift. Before, people asked, "Am I safe?" Now many also asked, "Do I smell right? Do I seem fresh? Will others judge me?" Cleanliness moved from survival into social pressure. That change was huge. A person could now be healthy and still feel not clean enough. That feeling sells a lot of products: shampoo, deodorant, body wash, mouthwash, detergent, surface cleaner, antibacterial sprays. The logic expanded everywhere. And soon, clean no longer meant one thing. It meant medical safety. It meant beauty. It meant discipline. It meant status. It meant self-respect. It meant control over chaos. That is why modern cleaning culture became so strong. Not because all of it was necessary, but because it touched our oldest fears: disease, rejection, shame, disorder. And now think about the modern person. He wakes up tired. He showers with soap. He washes his hands after the train. He uses dish soap after dinner. He buys refills online. He smells fresh rain and cool ocean, though neither scent has anything to do with actual rain or sea. He never stops to ask why his entire day is built around products designed to remove, kill, refresh, sanitize, and polish. That is the third mini-story. And maybe it is about you. Because modern soap is so normal, it becomes invisible. But invisible habits are often the strongest ones. What else in your life feels natural only because history trained you to accept it? Chapter 5. Today's surprise. So here is the surprise. Modern people may be cleaner than many humans in the past. But we are also more anxious about cleanliness than ever. That is not the same thing. In many places, soap is now cheap, easy, and everywhere. But the idea of being clean enough keeps moving. New soaps promise more protection, more softness, more beauty, more purity, more confidence, always more. And sometimes the line between health and marketing becomes blurry, very blurry. We are told to fear bacteria, odor, oil, sweat, stains, and even our natural skin. Yet the human body is not a machine made to smell like flowers all day. It is alive. It sweats. It changes. It hosts tiny life forms on the skin. Not all of them are enemies. So the secret history of soap is not just that it cleaned the world. It also taught the world to feel uneasy inside its own body. That may be its strangest legacy. A product born from ash and fat became part of modern identity. It entered medicine, class rules, school lessons, war against disease, and the private mirror in your bathroom. All from one simple promise. You can wash away what frightens you. But can you really? Can soap remove fear? Can it erase class judgment? Can it wash off shame? Not completely. And that is why this story matters. Because the history of soap is really the history of what humans cannot control. We cannot fully control disease. We cannot fully control decay. We cannot fully control how others see us. But we keep trying. One bar, one bottle, one rinse at a time. So the next time foam covers your hands, remember this. You are not only touching soap, you are touching thousands of years of survival, labor, fear, industry, and belief. That is not a small thing. That is history in your palm. Ending. Soap seems harmless because it is familiar. But familiar things can shape whole civilizations. A small bar helped change how people thought about disease, class, the body, and even morality. That is why its history is far more dramatic than most of us ever imagine. And this is where I leave you with a choice. What should the next episode be? Option A, The Secret History of Toothpaste. Option B, The Secret History of the Toothbrush. Write A or B in the comments. Choose carefully. The next ordinary object may have an even stranger past.